What's up, guys? I just finally got around to doing this game mode, and for the most part it was extremely easy, except for the Marionette. That boss took me maybe 10 tries to get a run over 20k. It probably didn't help that my Juan is not the best built, and my Nicole is so poorly built it's actually hilarious. She's level 50, the discs are not even leveled, and she has a level 20 engine. I'll be doing a small guide for each boss, so feel free to jump around to the sections you care about. But if you want to hear my thoughts about the game mode, you can stay for a little bit. Yeah, I heard a lot of people complaining about this content, and to be honest, I found the tower kind of much harder compared to this, but I can see why people would struggle here. If you aren't at least a small spender, it's pretty hard to build 3 competent teams. This content is essentially a character plus a DPS check in its purest form. It kind of does make sense that Hoyoverse kind of went this direction in terms of endgame content, because they did a really similar thing with Genshin, where you had one piece of content which favored vertical investment, so hyper investing in one character, and then another game mode where it favors horizontal investment across the board, so you have multiple teams, and this is obviously that. Unfortunately, right now, ZZZ kind of does lack very strong free-to-play options for DPS. Hyper is kind of the savior for most people. But outside of her, things kind of do get sketchy, but that's my 2 cents. Let's get into the fights. Okay, Marionette. So we are running Zhuyuan, Qingyi, and Nicole, which is the standard Ether team. And is also the team that I think most people are running, simply because it's the 3rd best team in the game, considering the other teams you have to use for the other bosses. In terms of free-to-play options, I did see a couple people using like Corrin, and also somebody soloing it with a Billy, which does make sense considering the performance bonus for this round. And speaking of performance bonus, that's the biggest tip I have to give, which is killing the clones. So you'll notice that for a good chunk of the Marionette's abilities, it will summon out a clone which also has a health bar. Now these clones don't last forever, they last for like a couple seconds if that, but they also have really low HP. And killing each one gives 200 points, which is huge. And you can get up to 5,000 points just from killing the clones. And that's probably going to be the difference maker. I did go with the second buff option, which is the one which gives more decibels and more ult damage, which makes sense because so much of Zhuyuan's damage is front-loaded into her ult. And with that in mind, the biggest tip here outside of killing the clones is trying to make sure Zhuyuan can ult as much as possible. So that means trying to do it on every stun rotation. I didn't find a way to get it efficiently to work on every single stun rotation, but trying to get it on most is pretty important because it's such a substantial chunk. In terms of playing with Qingyi, you can see when it does this move where it rains down a bunch of these clones, that's one of the best places to try and get clone kills. Because with Qingyi, if you're able to dodge and then follow up attack, you'll be able to do enough to kill them most of the time. And that's going to be the difference maker. I found if you're not at over 10k, a little bit over 10k at the halfway mark, so like 130 left, you're going to struggle to meet the check. So you really just have to go at it. But that's pretty much it for this one. Like I said, I did see some people use Corrin, and I did see someone solo with a Billy, so you might want to give that a try if you don't have these characters. But yeah, I'll see you guys for the next one. Okay, the bringer boss. Yeah, this one very straightforward. All it is use Miyabi and win, basically. If you don't have Miyabi, I'm really not sure what the free-to-play options are for this, other than just getting Miyabi. Yeah, the team I'm using is pretty much overkill, probably the best team in the game at the moment. Caesar wasn't even needed, to be honest. All it is getting Miyabi to max charge auto attack, and then quick swapping over to Hanabi, triggering disorder, and then switching back and repeating. That is the entire fight, basically. The most important thing is interrupting the boss from doing its kind of big invulnerability phase, where it just starts raining stuff down onto the floor. Not only does that waste a ton of time, but interrupting it actually gives you a big chunk of points. So that's the only thing, you know, try not to blow all of your cooldowns and all of your abilities before it goes into that phase. It's the only tip, really. Other than that, my tip personally is pick up Miyabi, because she is one of the best characters in the game right now, and it's not even close. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, on to the last boss, and we're running the second best anomaly team, I guess you could call it, which is Jane Doe and Bernice. Usually I run Caesar with this team, but I just went with Lucy because I used Caesar on the other boss. It doesn't really matter, it's a little bit extra damage with the buffs, but my Lucy is not even built, so I'm not really getting much from her. All of the damage is just coming from Bernice and Jane Doe. I think for most free-to-play players, they're probably going to be using the Piper Assault comp here, which is just a free-to-play version of Jane Doe. And I did see people having some success with that. You essentially want to be running a anomaly comp here. You don't really have much of a choice if you want to get a good score because of his performance bonus. That's something to pay attention to. Each of the bosses have a performance bonus, which is you perform an action, you get extra points. So the Marionette was killing the twins, the clones. The other boss was making sure it doesn't go into that long phase, and this one is just triggering anomaly. So you really do have to run anomaly here. In terms of tips and tricks, there really isn't any. This boss is really straightforward. It's quite aggressive, but really simple. And this one shouldn't be a problem for free-to-play players, because you could have the Piper Assault team anyways. But yeah, that's it for this run, to be honest. Enjoy the rest of the video. Yeah, let me know if you guys want to see more or hear my thoughts on anything else. I'll catch you next time. Peace.